Good afternoon. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube. I am your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. So, I've given this a ton of thought. Deep thought. But it's time for me to finally do this. Now, those that have kept up with me for a long time know that I made a video long time ago sharing my top 5 favorite RPGs of all time. And I'll also put a link to that video in the description just in case anybody wants a refresher. But for this video, I would like to go over my top 5 favorite fighting games of all time. I gave this a lot of deep thought because I've played a lot of fighting games over the years, a ton of them. But when I really think about it, these 5 that I'm going to go through definitely, as I look back over my life of gaming, I've played like a ton of and have really stood out the most to me. Now, I know some people like to do honorable mentions as well. I'm not going to do any honorable mentions, but there's a lot of other fighting games outside of these 5 that I do enjoy. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy those. But these are really the 5 that really affected me a lot just over the years. Just with certain things about the game that really are very memorable to me. Okay? So, let's go ahead and jump into this list. Here we go. Number 5. You ready for it? Bam! Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus R is my number 5. I remember when I used to work for Red Storm Entertainment that a good friend of mine, shout out to Sly Nature, would bring in Guilty Gear. At the time, it was Guilty Gear XX, XX Reloaded, I believe. And that was my very first taste of Guilty Gear. I wasn't really a fan of the design or just, the characters are kind of meh to me. But what really stood out to me was the soundtrack. The soundtrack was quite awesome. I eventually gave in, and I was just like, I guess I'll give this game a try. Wasn't really good at it or anything like that. I was just messing around. I would mess around with Chip Zaniff, because he was the speedster. But once I kind of started getting into this game and then messing around with others, and then they did, later updated versions of this game, with Guilty Gear XX Reloaded. Then they did Accent Core Plus, and then Plus R. So they kept doing updates. And once it got to R, this is the Guilty Gear game that I just will play the mess out of compared to like Strive or compared to even Xrd. Which Xrd I'm okay with, but Accent Core Plus R really sticks out to me for the soundtrack, but it also had a great character roster. Like I said, I'm a big fan of, I do like Potemkin, but my favorite has always been Zappa and Jam. Those have been my two. Those have been my 2 favorites. And I know Jam was an Xrd Revelator. I'm really hoping that Jam will return as a DLC character for Strive. Maybe, hopefully, Season 3 just started, so hopefully Season 3. But, yeah, I easily would pick Accent Core Plus R over Strive any day. Any day. Even over Xrd. Yeah. Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus R. That is my go-to Guilty Gear game. Love the soundtrack as well. The soundtrack is phenomenal. You know, if it's one thing I also really enjoy is good music while I'm engaged in battle. So this one definitely fits the bill and is my number 5. All right. My number 4. Number 4. Garou, Mark of the Wolves, also known as Fatal Fury, Mark of the Wolves. I remember, once again, shout out to Sly Nature. He introduced me to Garou, Mark of the Wolves. He had it on Dreamcast. I played at his house. He also would bring the game over to my house in the past. But this game, and see, I was into, you know, a lot of, you know, the 2D games. Like, I enjoyed King of Fighters and, you know, the Guilty Gears and, you know, all those games like that. But Garou, Mark of the Wolves really stood out to me because of, I really enjoyed the character roster, especially Kushnud Butt, Gato, Kim Jae-hoon, Kim Dong-hwan, Freeman. I mean, this had a great character roster. And Gato is one of my favorite SNK characters of all time. I love me some Gato. I love his design. I love his personality. I love his fighting style. And, you know, I was really happy that they added him in the current King of Fighters game, which I thought was really, really cool. He's like guaranteed to be on my main team. But Garou, Mark of the Wolves, I really enjoyed the gameplay, the characters. If I remember correctly, this was Rock Howard's debut game. That's right, Rock Howard's debut game. And I definitely enjoyed Kim Kapwan's sons, Kim Jae-hoon, Kim Dong-hwan. They had the lightning and the fire elements to their attacks. But like I said, big Gato fan, and I just really enjoyed playing this game, whether it was on console or on arcade cabinet. And typically a lot of gaming conventions or that I go to will have an arcade cabinet with this game running. So, you know, I was never really like great at this game, but I've always enjoyed it for just the gameplay, the characters, just one of the best SNK games, if you ask me. One of the best. So, I am definitely looking forward to the sequel, because a sequel is in development. They've already announced it. So I'm looking so forward to that. And that will be a day one. And I can't wait to see what characters they'll have in that game as well. But Garou, Mark of the Wolves, I'm always down to play. Always down to play that game. I love that game. But yeah, that's number 4 for me. Okay. Number 3. For all the Street Fighter fans out there. Street Fighter Alpha 3. Pretty much my most played Street Fighter game ever. I remember playing the mess out of Street Fighter Alpha 3 at my friend Sly Nature's place. Also at my place as well. But whenever I go somewhere and there is Street Fighter Alpha 3 available, I have to play. I have to play. Without question. And what I really enjoyed about Street Fighter Alpha 3 is that, honestly, I really didn't have a main. I didn't really have a main of this game. I played with a ton of characters in this game. Karen, Sagat, Vega. Played a lot of Vega in this game. Guy. Who else? T-Hawk. Fei Long. You know, the gold or console versions. But yeah, I played with a ton of characters. I mean, even Ken, Ryu, Akuma, a little bit of Zangief, Gen, played some Gen. Like, there were a ton of characters I used in this game. And that's what I really enjoyed about this game. You know, just messing around with everybody. And, you know, going through arcade mode. The World Tour mode was very in-depth as well. I especially like this game's World Tour mode a lot better than Street Fighter 6's World Tour mode, if you ask me. I'm just saying. But soundtrack, also love the soundtrack to this game. Definitely a lot of great battle themes. And just a good sized character roster. And yeah, I mean, just going through a lot of practice sessions with others and also just casual sets. Street Fighter Alpha 3 definitely is up there at the top of my most played Street Fighter game of all time. And don't get me wrong, I've also enjoyed, you know, Third Strike. Was never really good at Third Strike, but I enjoyed Third Strike. Still popular to this day. I really like Street Fighter 4 as well. Wasn't really feeling Street Fighter 5 like that. But definitely Alpha 3 takes the cake for me to the max. So, and I know they did Street Fighter Alpha 3 Max on the PSP, which I hate that they didn't really bring that version to consoles, but at least I got a chance to play a good amount of Street Fighter Alpha 3 on PlayStation. That was my game. That was my Street Fighter. So, Street Fighter Alpha 3 is my number 3. All right, we're down to the top 2. Y'all ready? Number 2 for me. And this one might surprise y'all. This one might surprise y'all, but this is a game that holds truly dear to my heart. Here we go. And that's Samurai Showdown 4 Amakusa's Revenge. Now, originally, I actually played this game import on Sega Saturn at my friend Sly Nature's place. Yeah. He's like a childhood friend of mine. Played a lot of fighting games together. But he had an import converter to play Japanese games on his Sega Saturn. And Samurai Showdown 4 was one of them. So I got a chance to play that. And what was really the selling point for me, I like how they did the slash and bust modes for each character, just like they did with Samurai Showdown 3 Blades of Blood. But the two characters, the Kazama brothers, Kazuki and Shogetsu, I really am a big fan of those brothers. Definitely, once I got into the game more, played the mess out of those two characters. And you know what? The other characters were really cool as well, like Hattori Hanzo, Galford, Kibagami Gendro, Kibukiri Basara. Like, there were so many great characters in that game. And this was really the Samurai Showdown game that made me fall in love with Samurai Showdown. Like, yeah, I played the first three, and those were alright. But Samurai Showdown 4, I even will play the mess out of more than, like, the current Samurai Showdown game. And the current Samurai Showdown game has the Kazama brothers, which, you know, I'm glad that they added them via DLC. But still, Samurai Showdown 4, just with the art style, the animations, And also, they did the different fatalities as well, which they did do in Samurai Showdown 5 Special as well. But I really enjoyed Samurai Showdown 4 for the graphics, for the gameplay. I love the character roster. Pretty good soundtrack as well. And then I was really happy that they added this game to the Samurai Showdown Anthology collection. So, got a chance to play Samurai Showdown 4 here in the States. So, was really happy that they did that. But yeah, Samurai Showdown 4 will always have a place in my heart as far as fighting games. So, definitely, that is my number 2. And then here we are, ladies and gentlemen. My number 1 favorite fighting game of all time. And those of y'all that know me well, y'all already know what it is. I mean, let's not kid each other. Y'all already know what it is. So, without further ado, here's number 1. That's right. Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution is my favorite fighting game of all time. Shout out to Sly Nature once again. He was the main one that really got me into Virtua Fighter. Like, actually invest in Virtua Fighter. Now, I remember playing Virtua Fighter 4 because I remember seeing commercials for it. I remember the PlayStation magazine that came out that had Akira on the front cover. And I played Virtua Fighter 4. Had issues getting into it. Just, it wasn't really clicking with me. But once my friend Sly Nature got into it, and then he kind of brought me back into it. And around that time, Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution came out, which this game released as a greatest hits. It was only $20. So once he got me into that, I was just like, you know what? Let me give this another legit try. Let me give this a legit try. So I got back into it, and I had not looked back. And that is why Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution is my favorite when it comes to all the Virtua Fighter games. Like, I know I've played 5 and, Final Showdown, Ultimate Showdown, 1, 2, and 3, and Fighters Megamix I enjoy as well. But VF4 Evolution, for me, best training system a fighting game could ever have. Oh yeah, I say that with confidence. Best fighting game training system. The character roster, really good. I know this was the game that introduced Brad Burns and Go Hinogami. And I'm a Wolf Hawkfield player. He's my main. And in this version, Leon Rafale was my sub. And also Pai Chan was my sub. So, just thought I'd throw that in there. Most people don't know that. But Quest Mode was phenomenal. I know it was a big improvement over the Kumite mode in the original Virtua Fighter 4. But Quest Mode, I played the mess out of. Logged in a lot of hours and went through each of the characters. And honestly, I just kept rinsing and repeating. Like, I would just do all that, delete my save, do it all over again. Delete my save, do it all over again. You know what I mean? So, definitely really enjoyed the Quest Mode. And like I said, I understand it didn't have an online mode or anything like that. But you know what? At the time, me and my friend, we played dozens upon dozens upon dozens upon ages of matches. Like, I would be Wolf, he would be Owie, or Brad, or Go. And I would also throw in some Leon and Pai Chan as well. And dude, I tell you, we would have like 100 matches in one sitting. At least. Maybe some character switches here and there, but like, those were good times for me with Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution. And I know a lot of folks say, well, Blitz, what about Final Tune? Well, you got to remember, Final Tune never released in America. That was Japan only. Not to mention, that only had the arcade mode and versus mode and the special challenge battle. That's it. That didn't have a quest mode, you know? So, sorry, can't pick that over VF4 Evolution. So, but yeah, this is the fighting game that's at the top for me. I know a lot of people are like, well, Blitz, what about Mortal Kombat? What about Tekken? What about Soul Calibur? Marvel vs. Capcom? What the heck? Sorry. I mean, those are some games that I have played, and, you know, some of them I do like, but I'll always be a VF man. At the top, I'll always be a VF man. So, I know it's weird. It's not the popular choice, but I'll always be a VF man. And Virtua Fighter 4 will always be at the top of my list. For Evo will always be at the top of my list. So there you have it, folks. Those are my top 5 favorite fighting games of all time. And also, don't forget to check out the other video in the description for my top 5 favorite RPGs of all time, just in case you haven't gotten a chance to see that. Also, check out the link to Game Beauty as well. And let me know what y'all's thoughts are. What do you think of my list? Do you like any of the fighting games that I named? And also, share with me your top 5. I would love to hear your top 5 favorite fighting games as well. And if there are any fighting games you recommend that I check out, let me know. Thank y'all so much for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. This has been another Blitzball Champ gaming video here on the U to the Tube. I'm your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. Hope everybody has a blessed day, and I will see y'all in the next video and or live stream. Take care. Peace out.